Welcome friends. Today we're going to talk about the most famous library in Python for data scientists, data analysts, data engineers, basically everyone who manipulates data, and this one is called Pandas. And no, we're not talking about the pandas, the animal, but we're talking about a Python library. So this video, I want to walk you through the basics of using Pandas in just under 10 minutes. It will give you everything you need to start using Pandas right away. So let's dive into the code.
Here we are on Visual Studio Code. You can use any IDE that you prefer. We have pandas.ipynb. It's our Jupyter notebook. So first we're going to install pandas. So we open the terminal. We do pip install pandas, and here it is. I already have it, so it says already satisfied. For you, it might be just you just need to install it from scratch. Then we're simply going to import pandas as PD. When we have a hashtag, it means this is a comment and this is what we execute. So we imported successfully. Then we're going to create a data frame that is going to read from the CSV file. So what we do, we go here. This is our loan prediction.csv that we're going to analyze. We go and copy the path and we put it in here and we store it into our data frame. Data frame is like a table that is going to incorporate the data inside the CSV file. So if you wanted to print the first 5 rows, we do df.head and it will automatically print the first 5 rows. But if you wanted to update it to 7, you just put 7 or 3 or whatever. But if you keep it just head, it will show the first 5. And same logic applies to the last 5 rows. You do df.tell, it will print the last 5 rows. If you want to do the 3, you will just change it to 3. Then if you want to see the shape of our data frame, we do df.shape. Here it gives us 614 rows and 13 columns. If you want to check the informations related to the data frame, you put df.info, and here it gives you the number of appearances for each column. As we can see in here, 599 means that we have 15 missing values, so we can already have a quick insight of what's happening in our data frame. Also, we can see the type, okay, object, integer, float, etc. Let me remove this. Then we do df.describe. You can see it also gives a lot of statistical details, but here we only have columns that have numerical values, so only the ones that have int or float in them. So it's interesting to have a look at the info to see all the columns, even the object ones, and describe that gives you only the statistical values. As you can see, we have 13 columns, but only a few of them have numerical values 100%. Here, this one is quite useful if you want to show all the rows in a data frame. You put display max rows. You can do the same for columns. So if we remove this, if we do df, it will show us the whole data frame, which usually is not that useful, but in the beginning when you're doing the exploration, it's quite useful to have a look at everything. Okay, here we are, and you can do the same obviously for columns. If you want to expand all columns, and you can see all of them. For example, if we had a data frame with 60 columns, so you can see all of them. Here we can use df.isNull.sum to check for null values. As we can see, we have here a few. If you want to drop them, we can do drop NA, and it will drop the null values automatically. If we check again the shape, we see we have 480 compared to here we had 614. Obviously, it's not always the best idea to just drop values. You can find an alternative, maybe the mean value, maybe the average, or the most repeated. But for this tutorial, we'll keep it easy and we just drop them. Okay. Here, if we want to check the loan status column, as we can see here, loan status, it's a categorical feature that either has Y or N. It means yes or no, if the loan was approved or not. If you want to check how many appearances they have, we see here yes 332 times and no 148. It's very important to check these before diving into deeper analysis. Here, for example, we want to check for the column property area, what are the values that it has. So it has only 3 values in the whole data set. So if we check in here, where is it? its property area in here, it has only 3 values. Okay, so this is how you explore your data. For example, if I want to rename the column applicant income for whatever reason to income, this is how you do it. And let me show you. Let's apply. So here we see income, it was applicant income and it became income. So for whatever reason you want to change the name of the column, rename it, you use this code. You put here in place equals to true, meaning that it does apply directly to the data frame. Okay, next, if we want to find the index of some values, for example, here we have the education column, we want to see only the rows that have not graduate. So we put education equal to not graduate dot index dot values, and it will give us all the rows where we have education equals to not graduate. For example, if you want to remove them, you can just go in here and put df dot drop, and here you put labels equals to, and you just copy all these rows in here and you put it, and you can drop them. And if you check again the data frame, you'll see df.shape, and you will find there are even less rows. Okay, here if you want to replace strings, for example, if you want to change the column loan status n with 0 and y with 1, we can do it easily by replacing the strings, and as you can see here, it becomes numerical values. But here it will stay as an object, so the type will not change into integer. So that's something to keep in mind. If you want to map values, so map values has the same thing as replacing a string, but here you will assign a value to an element. So here yes becomes 1 and no becomes 0. So here the column married. Okay, so we'll assign 1 for yes and 0 for no. Data types, it's basically checking the types of data. As we've seen in info, we can see object, integers and floats, and we can see loan status is still an object even though we changed the values of y to 1 and n into 0. Here if we want to change it, we can use as type and change it into an integer, and if we check it again, we can see it's an integer. It's perfect right now. Here we want to drop the column gender, so we can do just .df.drop. We choose the column and we do in place equals to true, meaning that it is applied directly to our data frame. If we want to concatenate a data frame with another one, concatenate is basically linking one data frame and another. Here, for example, we have our main data frame. If we choose to link it with or concatenate it with the same data frame, it will give us something like this, which will be basically our data frame repeated twice, which is quite silly. But in some cases, you have a different data frame that you want to connect with your first one, and this is how you do it. Here, if you want to exclude a specific type of columns, for example, you want to exclude objects, you can do select the types, exclude objects, and you can see now if we print again the types, there are only numerical values, integers and floats. And finally, if you want to export your file, you just do df to CSV and you give it a path and a name of the file, and you do it, and here you are. If you check, you're going to find new df.csv. So
here you are. This was Pandas in under 10 minutes. It gives you all the tools you need to get started and get going. Hopefully this video gave you a nice introduction into Pandas. Obviously there are so many things that you can do with this tool that we didn't cover in this video in just 10 minutes, but let me know in the comment section if you'll be interested in me doing a whole walkthrough in a real data science project and show you how I use Pandas and also other libraries in my workflow. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.